Welcome back to you. I hope you've been here before. To me, I've seen it before. Free and Fidance. It is the Sopranos. Prima Volta.
Forget about it.
Yes. Welcome back. Thank you all for being here. Now, we've been reading the comments and stuff, and we are focusing now, based on popular demand,
Yes.
on one ep per ep.
Yes. One and one.
One episode per episode. Of course, today we'll be going over season 4, episode 3.
Yes.
We've been covering one at a time just because I feel like as we've evolved, as you've evolved,
Yeah.
as a commendatore, there's just so much more to unpack in every episode.
I mean, every time we take this flight to Soprano Town, the more and more luggage is being carried.
I thought it was Newark.
You're right. You're right. Every time we pack the car up to go to Bergen County, down to Newark, making these different stops, I'm waking up in the morning, I'm grabbing myself a gun, I'm saying, there's a lot of luggage here. Gotta unpack a bit of it.
Yep. First couple of drives, we're passing the Twin Towers. Last couple of drives, not there no more.
No.
But
it's different.
Every drive, I'm picking up the newspaper at the bottom of the driveway in my bathrobe before I leave.
Yes, I do own a bathrobe. I'm going to start getting the post delivered to my doorstep.
Have you gotten to the point yet? First of all, and you see throughout the episodes, television technology is so ridiculous. I feel like we take for granted that we all have flat screens on the wall, whereas back then, I mean, this was, even 15 years ago, even the people with money and the people who actually had decorators and stuff still just had a TV stand in their room.
I mean, look at that Russian's house. That whole debacle in the Pine Barrens started over a controller the size of a drone. They looked like a drone controller that Paulie threw on the ground for the entertainment system. That thing was shit.
And he was an interior decorator. Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. I mean, for an interior decorator, his house looked like shit.
Yeah, I mean, but have you gotten, there are times where I go, maybe I could make my bed a little more down in my bed so it just feels fluffier. And then I look at the TV on the wall and go, would that be nicer if it was on a Roman column?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be a classier move? Don't you kind of want, doesn't it feel, and maybe it's just because Tony has so much stress and it looks like he sleeps so hard.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like we're revving up for a mattress ad or something, but we're not. But doesn't it?
I mean, we could. I just got a Casper mattress. Casper mattress. You'll sleep like a ghost because it'll feel like you're dead.
But doesn't it? Don't you feel like maybe if my room looked a little more like Tony and Carmela's room, I would sleep better.
Yeah. I mean, you need a nice bed to sleep in when you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. And what better place to go than a nice, comfortable domain after you've committed murder and convinced people to kill a nephew of yours and, dealing with suicides that are on your back and in the back of your head. You're going to want to have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, you're going to want to sleep like a ghost.
Yeah.
A ghost because they're chasing you everywhere you go.
Yes, because you are haunted.
Yeah.
Your life is a haunted house at every turn, and you need a place to go to sleep well. And it is funny how we trick ourselves and be like, I got a flat screen. I'm doing all right. It's everyone has a flat screen.
I know. Yeah, you're literally Steve Carell on The Office. Have you seen The Office?
Yes.
Okay, being with this 6-inch screen.
Yeah. Everyone's crowded around it.
I love that because if you hadn't seen The Office, I'd be like, well, that's the next Prima Volta.
I stopped watching after the 3rd season, so.
You missed some great stuff.
I mean, put it in the Prima Volta bag, baby.
We got a lot to do, but before we get there, season 4, episode 3, go ahead.
May I just say,
yeah,
I love this show.
Oh man, I love doing it with you.
And you're a friend of mine, a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And shout out to the commentators out there. Really appreciate you guys. It's cool seeing you out in the wild. And, every time I'm here, every time we have an episode, it's a celebration.
Yeah.
And you're a hungry little guy. And
yeah, I could use the cows.
Each week, you go through my little gifts. So I'm going to keep giving them to you. Yeah.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, what a gift. This is not, that's a Whitman sampler.
It's a Whitman sampler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Even nut caramel.
Nut caramel.
Wow. I just not want to move the remote. I'll put that
Nuts
right.
for nuts.
I'll
A
put that
guy
right
came up to
there.
me and said, "Hey, if I should have brought you a Whitman's. You keep giving them to Sam." I go, "Well, you should, man. I'm going to the poorhouse, but it's worth it because I'm an earner and I got the cash."
You are an earner. And I will say this because you won't. If you're going to see Ian Fidance do stand-up, the least you could do is bring the guy a Whitman's, okay?
Yeah. Or give me some cash like your horse just won and you owe it to me.
Yeah, give it to find like a yellow envelope.
Yeah.
And just
You know what would be a fun thing that like the fans could do? Just give us envelopes of cash.
of money. Yeah.
That would be fun.
And be like, I'm here to this is your cut.
Yeah.
This is your
Yeah.
set.
Give me a cut.
You go, Ian, that was a great set. This is your cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it would be a dream come true for me if you had to walk out of a gig with like 6 boxes of Whitman's.
Yeah. And then I try to get a cut from CVS. They're like, you don't ever receive. What are you doing?
Yeah, they arrest you because you're like, oh, you're the Whitman shoplifter.
Yeah.
I see. We saw you on Rappaport's Instagram.
The Whitman Bandit.
Wow. Season 4,
Yes.
episode 3, is an episode that has. I love this episode for a few different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's an episode that has stuck with me ever since the first time I saw it. It's called Christopher,
Yes.
but it's not about a Multasante.
No.
It's about Columbus.
Some would say a hero.
Others would. Well, we don't want to. I'm not going to speak ill of Christopher Columbus. We're Italian here.
Yeah.
You know,
please,
we're not going to do that. here.
Not the time or the place.
No. We celebrate a Columbus Day on this show.
Yes.
You take us out of this show, we can
Yeah.
have a discussion. But here,
Yeah. It's our heritage.
oh, hey,
our
it's our heritage.
Please.
It's a source of great honor.
Yeah. Get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah. Get over it.
Get over
Yeah.
it.
Get over the savagery and destruction of Columbus. Come on.
And I'll tell you to me why this episode is so genius. And I remember actually when this episode first aired,
Mm-hmm.
I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I was a young Syracuse sociology student.
Wow.
And I remember this show being so big that it would come up in class.
Mhm.
And this episode specifically, like, we had a full class on it, which
Yes.
also makes me think that it was probably taught by the TA. I don't exactly remember. But if I was a TA or a college professor or something like that, and The Sopranos was on, I'd probably also watch The Sopranos instead of doing a lesson plan.
Without a doubt.
And then come in the next day trying to figure out, like, oh, it all relates to The Sopranos. Did you guys see last night's episode?
I mean, if I was a professor in physics, I would relate The Sopranos to that class just to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. But what's interesting about this episode is that it's I think more self-reflective than self-reflective.
Yes.
Self-reflective
Yes.
than you realize watching it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, because this not only does it deal with Columbus Day and the way the Italians see it and the way the natives see it and the way, all this controversy, but it also deals heavily with Italian stereotypes.
Yes.
And which we don't like
No.
the way these stereotypes are portrayed.
No. And we would never do nothing
No.
to further those stereotypes.
It's not exactly a gabagool.
No, it's not gabagood.
It's
to
not
do that.
gabagood at all. A capiche?
Yeah, please.
Salute. So, but the reason it's important is because when this episode came out, there was a controversy. The Sopranos, because the show became so big,
Right.
became controversial in the show's portrayal of
Italian
Italians.
Americans, right.
So while the characters in the show didn't like the way the mafia made Italians look, those characters, I think, were actually representing critics of The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, and we'll jump around as we always do, but I feel like Tony's speech at the end
Yes.
about how just be an individual, blah, 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 which is, bullshit. But,
Right.
his speech, I think that was David Chase responding
Right.
to all the critics of The Sopranos that had, popped up,
Yeah. Well, I've said this before where it's I feel like The Sopranos peaked that old Italian representation of like in the mafia, these strong silent types. This is what you do. Like That was the final form of that. And
Whatever
then-
happened to Gary Cooper?
Yeah, Gary Cooper was gay, and it
No!
it turned into immediately afterwards the Jersey Shore, where literally I think the Taiwanese version was called Macaroni Rascals.
Right.
They became a complete joke.
Yeah.
So like you can only go down from where the Sopranos brought Italians, and then they just became these joke people that now there is anti-Italian discrimination because it's like the last race of people you can totally just shit on.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Because I won't stand for it.
No. Well, if you stood, you'd be out of frame.
No! Whoa! It fell off a truck. Yeah, but I also find I find this interesting. Not only that, but they are, dealing with social issues.
Yeah.
That this episode would have come on in like 2004, 2005, maybe, and
still
it's
relevant
still
today.
Yeah,
I mean,
this literally could have been made in 2022
because this legitimately happened in Philadelphia this past year, where Italians surrounded the Columbus statue with bats to make sure they didn't take it down. My neighborhood has Columbus Day celebrations, and it's not like xenophobic or big. It truly is like, it's less Columbus and more like the Giglio and celebrating like Italian heritage.
When
and
you
it's
say
a
your
big
neighborhood,
thing.
do you mean in your neighborhood here in New York, or are you talking about the Delaware Italians?
I'm talking about neighborhood in New York.
Okay.
Delaware Italians, they don't really care.
About anything,
Yeah,
really.
Delaware Italians
They're broken people.
really have just been pushed out and anti-Italian discriminated against.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Uh-huh.
And if you think the anti-Italian discrimination is bad,
Yeah.
you should hear the anti-Delaware discrimination to get it
No.
on both ends.
I don't stand for it. It's a lot of stress.
I
A lot
get
of
it.
discrimination in my life.
I
As a
get it.
minority, it's a lot.
A double minority.
Double minority.
It's bad.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you would think one would cancel the other out. No. It just adds to it.
Compounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I am like a transformer of minorities. I just am adding more and more.
You know what I find interesting about this episode is that it's really, I think, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the first time that Sil shows real passion for something.
Yes.
Like, Sil is very, very comfortable
Mm-hmm.
being second in command, being underboss.
Well,
being
we saw in the last
consigliere.
episode that Sil kind of swings dick a little bit.
Because of Christopher.
Yes. And in this episode, which is called Christopher, he ends up having a passion project that came out of nowhere, and it's truly his hill that he's going to die on. I mean, they get in trouble at the end of the episode because of Sil.
Now,
Because
do you think that Sil is really this passionate about his heritage and about Columbus Day and everything? Or do you think that, if you look at this episode in a bubble,
Mhm.
then yes. But if you look at it from the whole series perspective, and like you said, the episode that came before it,
right.
do you think that it's all about the heritage, or do you think some of it is still having feelings about what's going on with him and Tony, and Sil deciding that this is more important to him because he feels lately like he's not being taken seriously in general?
Yeah, I do feel like this is Sil's attempt to kind of steer the ship in a way. And if he can just get this thing and it turns out in their favor, he will prove that he is important to the crew.
Yeah. And I think that on some level, Sil is struggling right now with the idea of being comfortable as number two.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to truly be comfortable as number two, you have to be comfortable with the way people perceive you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Sil might here be struggling with the idea that people see him as number two, not because he wants to be number two, but because he not because he chooses to be number two, but because he is. Like, when you choose to be number two, at times I feel like there's something inside you that goes, I need people to know that I could be number one if I wanted to, but this is a choice.
Right, but are people perceiving him as that?
I don't think
Or
so. I think
are-
it's his insecurity.
Right, yeah, it has to be an insecurity because he's actually in a great position because he is taken seriously. He's the guy that Tony has be the middleman. He's the guy that has the sit downs. He's the guy that makes these decisions that Tony defers to, which is an incredibly important position.
Yeah, and don't forget that he's also the only guy that Tony will actually listen to and change what he's doing based on. Like, Tony will kind of go, okay, you got this one. So, like, he won't do that for anyone besides Sil.
Right. And he's a longtime trusted friend. He falls into the Big Pussy Paulie crew, and Big Pussy's
which is
out.
Shrinking.
Paulie is God knows where. I mean,
jail.
Jail, but God knows where mentally. I mean, Paulie's a sinking ship. Jesus Christ.
Whoa.
I mean, dude, it's we end up getting into horse races, but this has been a horse race in and of itself of someone in front falling back,
And Tony's getting angry now.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has to get all involved. He has to get involved with Red Clay, right? That's his name?
Yes.
Red Clay. He has to get involved with Red Clay. Then they go to the casino, and he realizes
he's been had.
The only reason he's at the casino is so that now he has to do a favor for this guy.
Which is
by the
Sil's fault.
It's absolutely Sil's fault, which Tony is annoyed about. And I also love that the guy who's in charge, he's like 5% Cherokee or whatever.
Dude, not even that. He straight up goes, well, I had a racial awakening, and I found out that my grandmother's mother was a quarter Mohawk. His great-great-grandmother is a quarter, and he didn't even say great-great-grandmother. He goes, my grandmother's mother. And Tony brings up the casino, and he goes, better time, never too late, or like better time than ever. And then that other guy is just like, Mohawk if you like money. I love that guy.
Yeah, which again, I think is David Chase's way of being like, we're all doing it.
Yeah.
It's everybody's hustling.
Yeah. I love these little nods. But you bring up, Tony against Red Clay and the Chief, and there are these different battle dynamics of, Johnny versus Ralphie, and these dynamics of Furio and Carmela. And, Ralphie, again, seems to be in a thorn in the side of Tony.
Of everyone.
Of everyone.
Of everyone. Well, yeah.
Well, and also, speaking of thorns in the side, he's getting something in his side, inside him, at the beginning of the episode, when he's getting pegged by Janice. She's pimping his ass out. I mean, what the fuck? And then he has the balls to have the Rocky theme song play on his phone. And he's talking to Ro while he's getting pegged, and Janice calls it wacky.
By the way, what do you think of Janice?
I mean, she's a fat snake pig. And what I'm seeing from her is so gross, and it makes me love that actress even more.
Ada Turturro?
Yes. The way these characters can just get into your psyche and under your skin, and they're just such good actors, and the writing is so wonderful that it like, I hate Janice so much for how manipulative she is, but I need her to keep showing up. I need her to just, I know she's going to do something terrible, and then when she does it, I'm like, I can't fucking believe it.
So we can see the craziness that exists in Ralphie, and by the way, how manipulative Ralphie is. Because you've got Ro, who is, like you've pointed out so many times, loyal, beautiful, saint on earth, the type of woman you'd want to create a life with. And
she's trying to do that with Ralphie, and all she wants is love and support.
That's it. And instead of love and support, he shows her the door.
Not only that, he goes, "What's in it for me?" What?
Are you kidding me? Look at the prize you have, Ralphie.
He's such a selfish prick, but at the same time, he does these such likable little things.
You still like him.
That's just Ralphie.
I don't find him to be remotely likable.
He doesn't have these little moments where you're like, oh.
No, I find his charm and humor to be disgusting.
Right.
That's my I know that there are those that think that that's like likable and charming, but I find him to be revolting, and I find even in his moments of humor, it's funny. It's funny.
It doesn't make him redeemable.
No,
he's not a redeemable character,
not even remotely. And I just it's the like smell of the stink of venom. Is just so pungent.
But he's a Janice. It's despicable to the point where it goes back around to like, I like seeing them on camera, even though I'm disliking them and their behaviors.
Yes.
I'm liking when they pop up, and Ralphie will make me go, oh, fucking Ralphie. And in a way that like, I'm trying to think of a character on the show where I think Richie Aprile, I hated every time he was on camera. I did not, go, oh, I wonder where this is going to go or something. I hated him. I did not like him. No redeemable qualities. And Janice's redeemable quality is almost like in her predictability. Ralphie's is in his ability to be a completely terrible person and at the same time crack these like jokes or do these little things that are just so completely ridiculous that it gives me excitement in a way to see him, what a piece of shit he'll be, and then how he'll try to like, wink his way out of it.
Well, he's not able to wink his way out of it because he finally makes the wrong move.
Oh, yeah. By trying to be a likable joke guy.
Yep. He leaves Ro.
Yeah.
And Janice, there's something, I would love to talk to David Chase about the therapist that he's gone to, because clearly he has a deep respect for therapy, which is, I think, evident in the way Melfi is portrayed.
Right.
But he's also so cognizant of terrible therapists. We saw it when Meadow went.
Yes.
And like Janice's therapist is awful too.
Yeah.
But
and again, one thing I love about Janice is she always goes back to this idea that people dislike her in her life because she's so artistic and creative. She's so out of touch. She's an irredeemable liar manipulator. And it's not that, it's the fact that she's just artistic.
I mean, is there anything and this is what she's doing. Like in life, I think everybody encounters this. People who are like, oh, everybody doesn't like me because they're jealous.
Yes.
And you're like, what?
Yes.
Like there's no envy.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, are you jealous of my success?
I mean, there is sometimes people are jealous and they dislike
Jealousy
you.
is a thing.
Yeah,
but
their bitterness comes out immediately. But when you are that awful, and unanimously everyone is disliking you, it can't just because of how wonderful you are.
And there's nothing more narcissistic,
right,
than somebody who doesn't realize that no one is jealous of them. There's nothing to be jealous of.
Yeah.
Why would anyone be jealous
of
Janice Soprano? She's not a creative person.
No.
She's an idiot.
No. She can't even get her tunes played at funerals.
No. But so there was to me something hilarious and satisfying about, and scary, by the way.
Also, can I just say
Go ahead.
real quick about Janice? Her manipulation of Bobby, like, I'm glad Bobby's getting more play, but her manipulation of him is so just sad.
Wow.
And like her watching Bobby kind of process the death of his dear Karen, she gets wetter than Bobby's tears.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. But here, when she breaks up with Ralphie, and she throws him down the stairs,
she can't process. The therapist literally goes, "You need to speak to him and tell him how you feel," and she just goes, you're wearing your shoes," and pushes him down the stairs.
Falls down the stairs. Now, does it worry you at all? Do you feel like, look, we are in the type of environment, Ralphie beat a woman to death. We saw it happen.
Yes.
This is Tony's sister.
He can't. Is he doing this as like a power move, or what is his deal with wanting Janet? Why Janice? What is this crazy? He's moves out of row. He's bringing a suitcase that we can be together forever. It's like, what?
I think there's a couple of things. I think number one, it's a power move. He wants to be part of the Soprano family. He wants to get closer to Tony. He wants to be in a position where Tony has to put up with him because he knows Tony doesn't like him. And number two, Ro's not going to put a dildo in his butt.
But she said, "I satisfy you sexually."
But she doesn't. She thinks that she does. But she doesn't know the kink.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the true kink of Ralph
He wants to be pimped out.
He wants to be pimped out. I mean, isn't it funny that Janice, like, she went from having a gun held to her head to being the pimp. Again, she's just so... She's a shell of a person.
Yeah.
There's nothing real about her.
Yeah.
She's a Christian, or she's a Hare Krishna, or she's got a
Pravati,
gun to her head, or she's a pimp, or she's awful.
And she's talking to Bobby about like his kids, and she's like, "Oh, if I wasn't there for my Harpo," and it's like, "You're not, you're not."
Well,
you know.
Well, let's get.
And just real quick, sorry, I love the fact that Ralphie is such a piece of shit. He goes, you know what this sick bitch wanted to do? She wanted to shove a dildo up my ass.
That's next
and act
episode.
like oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
But it was great.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
Because
Commodentores. What's up? It's your old Paisan pal, Ian here, and I just gotta say, oh my god, is that Janice? Janice! No, look like her. Yikes. Anyway, I am at Stress Factory, New Brunswick, Friday, February 25th, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. You gotta come out, okay? If it's your Prima Volta, seeing the old Paisan doing comedy, you're in for a treat. If you see me before, it's all new material. Either way, be a commendatore. Show up and show out. Bring me some Whitmans, or if you want to be a real passafajo, give me a bag of cash in an envelope. I'll feel how heavy it is and know that you're a friend of mine. Okay, hope to see you there. Thanks. Friday, February 25th, Stress Factory, New Jersey, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. A ticket link in my Instagram, ianfidance.com. Thank you. Bye. Prima Volta.
because here we do. You're talking about Bobby's wife. And Bobby is such a kind-hearted person.
Yes.
He's such a good man.
Mm-hmm.
He gets frustrated once.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to pick up
Yeah.
bologna or whatever he has to pick up. And he's stuck in traffic.
That is brutal.
Dude, brutal. Doesn't it make you... Every time I'm stuck in traffic, I'm like, please don't let this be a buckler.
Oh.
It just fucks with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's because it's so incredibly sad. Bobby's wife dies. And while, even at the funeral, they're like, he didn't even have a Gumar.
Yeah. I'm in traffic on the way up here screaming around my window, don't be Karen. Don't be Karen.
Carm became Karen, huh?
Yeah. It's fluid.
100%. 100%. But we do, and it also, we go back to the culture of like, it's almost weird that he didn't have a Gumar. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like they respect Bobby for not cheating on his wife. It's almost like they're pointing at how much he loved his wife, but also I think they look at him like a simp for not having a Gumar.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? For actually caring. Because, we've seen a lot of deaths on this show, but we haven't seen somebody being so outwardly emotional over losing a loved one as Bobby was about losing his wife.
Well, Bobby is an emotional guy. He goes, it's a curse being shy, All right. He shares a story about him and his dad. Yeah. He's the one that takes care of his father. He takes care of June. He's a very nurturing person. So, of course, he'd be the sensitive guy that shares his emotions, can't eat ziti because it was the last ziti Karen made, Yeah. Of course, that's him. You need that character in the show.
Yes. And because we'll continue to have the conversation. Because then it becomes like, oh, well, Bobby is the good person of the group. And it's like, is he a good person?
Right.
Or is he comparatively a good person? Like, he's still doing bad things. I mean, I don't think he's killed anybody, but he's still committing crimes.
Right.
Like, he's still victimizing.
Right.
And he's part of a system that is just there to destroy lives and suck money out of them.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's where Janice immediately, like Janice is like a
laser focused.
Yeah, this is predator prey stuff.
Yeah.
She immediately sees Bobby and sees him in this like prone state. And she sees something different. Like when I say people look at him like a simp, whatever, when she sees him crying and when she sees him emotional, I think, you tell me what you think. I think when she sees that, the reason that she leaves Ralphie, the reason all this happens is because she wants that to be about her. I don't think that she feels bad for Bobby in any way, shape, or form. I just think that she sees Bobby emoting, right? And Ralphie doesn't emote for anybody. Like, Ralphie's not sitting there. Ralphie's not going to cry for anybody. Richie's not emoting for anybody. The narcoleptic Christian isn't emoting. Remember her narcoleptic Christian boyfriend? But when she sees Bobby pouring his heart out, she doesn't go, oh, I want to make him feel better. She goes,
I want him to feel that way about me.
yeah, she's a vampire. She sees that energy and she's like, I want that for me.
Yeah. It's really gross. And, snake pig behavior.
That's what you think of Janice? The snake pig?
The snake pig.
There's a frog, there's a scorpion, there's a snake fuck pig.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of wives, another thing that comes up on this episode is, and this goes hand in hand with the, wait, before we get here, while we're talking about Ralphie, I mean, just a hilarious scene is Ralphie going, don't worry, I'll take care of this. And he meets with the guy, and he's like, okay, well, we'll let the world know. And he has the poster of the actor who was like the crying Native American over the litter, like like a staple of like 80s commercial stuff. Yeah. And he goes, this is an Italian actor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, I thought everybody knew that already. Like, that's not a thing. And I thought that that's the way the scene was going to go when I first saw it. When Ralphie leaves and the guy goes, is this true? Yeah.
There's his whole world is shattering.
And he's legit worried about the PR that's going to be around this.
Yeah. And Ralphie didn't go about like, listen, like, we had the family to break your legs. We had the family to hurt your loved ones. He's like, we're going to take your beloved actor and we're going to pull the curtain back. And it turns out he's not what you think he is. And this guy, that's actor's his guy. He's like, what the fuck? You can't be serious.
I just love that, like he's going the sort of cancel culture route instead of the they've never done that before. But he's like, oh no, I'm playing chess here, not checkers.
Yeah. Ralphie's the press secretary of the Sopranos.
and then the girl with the chief is like, no, everybody knows this. Don't worry about it. This isn't a thing.
Well, I just love that storyline because that's like the comic relief of the episode. I'm finding that there's these little comic relief parts that it's not over the top, but just like the idea of them showing up to save this statue and they get into an altercation. Artie Bucco immediately goes into the car and hides. The bartender.
What do you think about Artie Bucco, by the way?
I mean, fucking cuck loser. I mean, hiding in the car.
Immediately.
I don't want someone to rip my little earring out. I need my hands to make pasta primavera.
He immediately runs in the car. Oh, it's like, and that's the thing that's infuriating about Artie Bucco is he wants to be a tough guy so bad. Yeah. He wants to be associated with Tony. And he feels like the only reason that he's not a mob boss, that he doesn't live in a big house like Tony Soprano, is because he got fucked. Like life just wasn't fair to him. Tony got lucky and he didn't get lucky. Yeah. But the second
he has a chance
fight
to
or
show
flight,
up.
The second fight or flight kicks in, Artie Bucco grows wings.
I mean, he's got his bags packed, his passport's out. He's, TSA pre-check on that flight.
Leaving on a jet plane, don't know when I'll be back again.
Yeah, probably when there's another chance to show up, but I won't. That's when I'll be back again.
Yeah, I'll be back when it's you, when the men take care of all the action.
And the best part of this Columbus Native American versus Italian fracas is the fact that poor bartender from the Bing is there and just so comical that he gets his ass beat by the police.
You mean the guy that got his head dented in by this big mouth Billy Bass?
Yeah. He's the one that gets beat up by the police.
His whole gig is just get his ass kicked.
So funny. That is such a funny thing to keep popping up.
Yeah, like you assume at one point he's going to have to get some kind of lick in because he keeps getting his ass kicked and he's huge.
He is the punching bag of this show and it's hilarious.
While they're having the conversation about stereotypes and Columbus Day and Christopher Columbus and blah, 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 at the same time, they talk to the women. There's a great storyline with the mob wives in the church. And that, speaking of losers, I got no respect for that pastor or whatever priest.
Father Intantola?
Hate Father Intantola.
He has... used to be fat, got the surgery, but still has the skin energy.
absolutely couldn't have said it better myself, Ian.
Yeah.
He absolutely does. Like the insecurity of a fat guy.
Yep.
But but now he realizes he can get the manipulation because he's a skinny guy. And guess what? He's got that collar. Let's not pretend he's not using Jesus to manipulate these, wives who, by the way, the reason he goes after mob wives is because they're not getting attention paid to them by their husbands because their husbands are out earning for the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And both families, by the way.
Both. Family has more than one meaning.
I just noticed that on this show. I got me halfway through season 4. I said, oh, double meaning.
I just noticed that right now.
Who would have thought? Oh.
The writers on this show, amazing.
Let me tell you something.
When they can take one word and give it 2 meanings, no wonder they won so many awards.
Family, but also family. So yeah, but he, after all this, after all the history with Carmela, you sleeping over, right, Father? After everything, he has this person up there speaking about mob stereotypes. He knows. He knows. He's enjoyed the wine. He's enjoyed the pastas, the foods. He's enjoyed the DVD players and entertainment systems that the mafia has provided.
And the little gossip sessions sitting on the couch.
He loves that stuff. So Carmela's friends are annoyed about it.
Yeah, and they take up for Carm, because they know Carm is like the one, and they're like showing their loyalty by getting outraged. And again, Ro, the best.
What's your favorite Ro quote?
When she goes, "Nosy, eat your fucking manicotti."
Eat your manicotti.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the reason I really love this is because, and this goes back to the debate over whether Carmela is just some innocent victim or whether she's completely in on all of this. And I think that it's hard to argue after this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked before. It might have been last week, might have been the week before, about how much happens on this show that is we're saying it without saying it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You've heard of Italian without words?
I heard about it. I read about it.
Ah!
I live it.
Well, we do it again, but this time we see it with Carm.
Yes.
And we see, and it's the exact same thing that Tony would do to Christopher or Ralphie when Carm's friends say, do you want me to say, Sil's wife or whoever, do you want me to say something? And Carm just goes, doesn't say yes.
Yeah.
But everybody understands the look that Carmela's giving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's even more cemented when you see her get in the car and Ro opens the door for her. Which is not typical of like friendships, female or male. Like you open the door for your lady, you might open the door for your Carmela Adriana.
Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
the list goes on.
But you don't
Charmaine.
Sharon Stone from Casino.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't
Wait.
Am I Joe Pesci?
Oh, no.
But you know,
I'm gonna start digging the hole.
But you don't do that for your friends unless there's a power dynamic at play.
Yeah.
And I think here we see not only that the mob wives don't like that this conversation is happening, but to me, what was interesting about this whole storyline was not the friction between the friction between Father Chinchola and and the mob wives, or even the fact that the priest was clearly very hypocritical in the way he was doing this and everything. That wasn't, to me, the interesting part was that Carmela, amongst her group of friends, was treated the way Tony is amongst his business associates. That Carmela, to the mob wives, is the boss of the mob wives, and she's also giving commands without saying anything.
Right.
And she also...
But her commands are so, like, housewifey.
I mean, it's like you're playing mob.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
not like you're really
Give him a talking to.
right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But and with the way that she gets in the door, like if you opened the door for me, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Ian, what do you? This is so weird. Why
Yeah.
did you do that?
Mhm.
And you'd be like, I thought you were the boss.
Yeah,
and I'd
yeah,
go, what
yeah.
are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But Carm accepts it as normal. Not even like
But
appreciates
that's weird.
It's weird because
Dude, the other day I was driving my buddy to his storage unit and we put stuff in the car and he had to sit in the back because we put an AC up front. Then we unload the AC and he's still sitting in the back. And I'm like, you got to move up front. This is weird.
you know what one of the funnier things I ever saw was Patrice O'Neill
Mm-hmm.
when we were doing like an Opie and Anthony like casino thing or something like that. Everybody was going up to Connecticut and he was going up there, and I was driving with Troy and we got off at a rest stop to get food and we saw Patrice there. We just because we were driving on the same road and the timing just worked out. Patrice had a driver that the whatever Sirius paid to bring him from New York to Connecticut, obviously. Patrice sat in the front seat in the passenger seat with the driver the whole way. Like he didn't even know that we were still looking at him.
Right.
He drove all
That's
the way
great.
from New York to Mohegan Sun
That's
in
great.
the passenger seat
I love it.
with the driver. But yeah, because it's weird. There's this feeling of authority and this thing that most people get weirded out by unless you like the power.
Yeah.
And I think that this was very telling of the fact that Carm, it's one of the many reasons why she doesn't walk away from the life, because even though she won't admit it, she loves it.
Yeah. She loves the perks of it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I think we got, the ending is just so funny. We kind of touched on it at the beginning.
Right.
But Tony bringing up Gary Cooper again.
Again.
And again, I'm going to argue again, Ian. Tony is not the strong silent type. He is not Gary Cooper.
He tries to be.
He tries
thinks
to be.
He is.
Yes. I agree with you on that. Christopher. Oh,
Gary Cooper's gay.
it was 2 episodes ago, or maybe 1 episode ago, that Tony was like, Christopher's going to be my guy.
Yeah.
And he's such a moron.
He's clueless.
Gary Cooper was gay?
Yeah.
No!
Yeah. And also, I love Tony's, I'm half Fagawi. When my people were wandering around, they were going, where the fuck are we? And everyone's like, oh, Tony, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was a setup. Tony got played.
He got played.
To get Frankie Valli because of Syl.
Because of Syl. Now, coming out of this episode, did you feel impending doom for anybody? Did you feel like, oh, I'm going to watch out for this?
Yeah. I mean, straight up, we have this war going on between Johnny Sack
Oh my
and
God,
Ralphie.
that's what we didn't get into. I knew I had something in my head that I didn't say, that yes, that Johnny it's clearly upset about what Ralphie said. And he hasn't talked to Tony yet.
No.
But this is when Tony's starting to realize
something's up.
There's a leak. The Soprano family's got a leaky faucet.
Yes. Yes.
That somebody is out there. And we're just that was a very sort of beginning minor plot point in this episode, but it's there. And I think you do, and that's probably why you brought it up. I think that you do get that, like, we're probably not going to do much more with like Red Clay and the Native Americans, but like, I think that the Syl stuff is still pretty unsettled, don't you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing like a splintering that's going on.
Yeah.
And ultimately Tony's not very like appreciative. I can't imagine he doles out too many Christmas bonuses.
No, you're right. You're right.
And also at the same time, like anytime someone acts like a human or expresses emotion about anything that's going on, Tony is so quick to just fucking tie that knot and move on.
But if they don't acknowledge his feelings about things, he's pissed at them too. Like he doesn't see that, like, well, I want people to be empathetic to me, so I need to be empathetic to them.
Yeah.
He has no empathy whatsoever. You're right. Like, anytime anybody shows a feeling, he's like, get the fuck over it.
Yeah, he brings up his Oriental food and fucking gets angry.
Yeah, but when he's upset about something and other people aren't, like, empathetic to him, he thinks that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
What am I, a toxic person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tony is,
But I don't think that, I don't think that, and maybe just because we love Tony, I don't think that he's very manipulative, but I don't think, well, I was going to say that I don't think he's as outwardly manipulative as like Janice and his mother were.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's as outwardly manipulative. Well, I was going to say to the ones that he loves, but he lies to Carmela constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he is just as manipulative as the rest of them.
I don't. Does he do it to Meadow and AJ?
No.
Because
he's right. He's good to them.
There's a look he gives Meadow a lot that I love.
Especially in that orange bikini.
Where he, oh my God. Maron. Look at those fucking, where'd you get those meatballs? Santoriel's? And, woo. He has this look where he kind of purses his lips together and smiles when Meadow, like, gets one over or, like, brings up something. And it's this, like, cute, like, look, whereas anyone else would talk back to him in a way about his life, he would lose his shit.
I think that he loves his kids.
Yes.
He's generally disappointed in AJ. I think Meadow is clearly his favorite.
Clearly.
But I think that he does ultimately, he does love his kids.
And I don't think he manipulates his kids.
I don't think he manipulates his kids either. And I guess that's really the telling, like Janice abandoned Harpo.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that.
No, I don't think he'd abandon them. And if anything, he has this, like, his speech to Sil in the end was so funny to me because he talks about him like, everything you got, did you get it because you were Italian or because you work hard? It's like, that's a good point. But also you use death and intimidation to get everything in your life and you don't see this.
Yeah, like
your whole, like, you pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. Yeah, because, and you used a fucking 9mm to.
Yeah, you didn't earn everything. Like you manipulated your friend from high school into giving you his sports business and then took his kid's car and gave it to your daughter.
Yeah, you didn't exactly, buy that outright wholesale fare. You straight up, you guys work hard, but also murder.
And when you are doing a job, it's a no-show job.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Bevilacqua job. He'll show up for that one.
Yes. I mean, and
that one almost bit him in the ass.
Yes.
Almost bit him in the ass, like the fish are biting pussy's ass.
Right, it's now. Just so. This fish. It's just so funny how out of touch Tony is with, like when he gives AJ speeches. I work my ass off for bikes and video games and this and that. It's like, yes, but the word work you're using is a different type of work.
And he doesn't do it to provide for his family. He does it for ego. Like, he's doing it for himself. He's not doing it he's acting as if, well, I need to provide for my family and that's why I'm doing it. No, you're not. Like, you're doing it because you want the power. You're doing it because you want the strippers to look at you a certain way. You're not going
obsessed with power and money.
Yeah, and
as a byproduct, these other things happen.
Yeah, you happen to be supporting your family, and that's how you can justify all of it. But you're not. You don't have a Gumar because you need to support your family.
Yeah.
You lunatic.
Yeah. It's, I mean, that speech just, I think, perfectly sums up Tony.
Gary Cooper was great. Yeah. Christopher, too.
Of course. Yeah. That's his contribution to all of this.
It really is. It's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you expect him to do when he's just, like, dreaming in a world of the next time he can shoot dope into his arms? And then he comes out of that and he's like, Gary Cooper was gay? All right, back to the horse.
Well, speaking of horse, there's still a lot to talk about this season on The Sopranos. We'll be back next week for episode 4, season 4. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're still digging the format, if you still are thinking one episode per episode, then let us know in the comments. We are reading the comments. We appreciate no spoilers.
Yes.
We also appreciate all of you that are saying not only that you want it to just be a single episode per episode, but you want 2 episodes per week. Like, I don't know if you want to work us like dogs here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to provide for the family here. I'll tell you what, if you show up and you give a cut to Ian and myself, we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, maybe if we get a little envelope, you know? Maybe you give us an envelope and somehow magically I run my fingers through it, know exactly how much it is. Maybe you start giving me so many envelopes, I can know how much is in it by the weight it has in my hand, you know?
For now,
help us help you.
We're just going to do one episode a week because even there are some weeks that we don't even get one out. So the last thing we want to do is promise 2 episodes a week. And
right.
It's a lot.
But we're making a promise 1 episode a week right now.
1 episode a week, for
Yes.
sure. We're going to keep it up every week here on youtube.com/notsam. So subscribe and turn the alerts on.
And also, I got to say, you know what? We put the episodes out on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yours, take them, enjoy them.
Enjoy them.
The best time to enjoy them?
Oh.
Sunday.
With the family.
With the family.
Have a nice prosciutto, appetizer,
Some sauce, some gravy,
sausage,
braciole,
gabagool.
medicat.
Eat your medicat!
But
And then
do-
gather the family around and watch next time for our next episode. For me, it's an episode that I will have seen maybe 100 times.
Uh-huh.
But for New York City comedian Ian Fidance over here, it'll be his. Prima Volta!
It ain't no Frankie Valley, but it hits. Help me find pussy's body. You won't, 'cause he's in witness protection in the Atlantic.
See you next week.
Adios, arrivederci.